Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm actually gonna spend today going over the differences between the global, and the Japanese version, because I know there are probably a lot of you out there who are just starting out the Japanese version, and unfortunately, you probably can't read everything, or maybe there's some new features that you weren't paying attention to because it wasn't the version you were playing. So I'll go over some of those differences real quick, and then hopefully it'll be helpful for you guys out there. So first things first that I want to warn you is right here you see on the right side with the NA version this buyback monsters. Now how this worked in the NA was if you sold a monster and it wasn't wasn't a regular XP or Morling, I think, you could buy them back. This does not exist in the Japanese version. So if you sell something in the Japanese version, it is gone forever. So do not sell your monsters with the intent of, oh, I'm just freeing up room, I can buy them later. No, that will not work anymore. So do keep that in mind. Also, something else to keep in mind is the exchange rate for these catalysts. They are very different from the Japanese and English version. So the smallest one, you can see the rates are completed 10 versus 100. To get max stones, it's 10 versus 25. To upgrade a stone to a Sharl, it's 20 versus 50. And to upgrade to a Divine actually costs 100 versus 40. So keep that in mind if you feel like that's the way you want to go to make these materials. It is not as easy as it was before. And speaking of not easy, if we go to the quests real quick, as you can see, the icons are still the same, so they should be familiar to you as before. But if we look at the top, we had disco every day as long as you local co-op, as well as a local co-op XP. Neither of those exist in the Japanese version. And just in case you're curious, on the bottom from the ones without icons, they are in a slightly different order. You can see there's no hyper boost. There is no hyper boost in the Japanese version, and in order it goes from the money, turtles, dragon gems, and then catalysts. So as you can see, the orders are slightly different, but hopefully you can use this as a guide going forward. And I guess one also unfortunate thing is that in the Japanese version, the co-op only quests still exist. They got rid of that in the in our global version, with the exception to those 24-hour impossible quests that were on the weekends. But there are missions that are co-op only, so you will have to find others to play with you there. Alright, if we go to, let's see, the shop, there are two cool things here for the Japanese version. If you see on the left side, on the stamina refill, that second bar, you can see there's a little can, and that's actually a stamina refill. And they do give that out as rewards and through, I guess, daily bonuses once in a while. I feel like it's been rare, but as you would guess, it will refill your stamina for in place of an orb. So it's a good alternative if you're maybe farming for something or you're just short and you want more stamina. Feel free to use that stamina can, and it will overflow as usual. And the thing here on the bottom, this beginner's pack, every player gets one use of them, and I think it's at a pretty discounted price. But essentially, you're guaranteed a 6-star. You get 5 orbs, and you get 10 max Ps, and you also get a ticket for the the More King quest. So that's pretty good. I'm not sure if I actually want to buy this or not yet. Maybe I will cave in eventually, but for now, it's just gonna stay there. The gacha. Most things are the same. We did upgrade ourselves so that it looks very similar to the Japanese version, so you can tap to see your monsters and see which ones are featured, and then you can also go to the evolve form, ascended form, check it out that way. One thing to warn is that in the friend hatcher, the friend hatcher for the Japanese version still has the super low monsters that you probably remember got removed from the English version. And see, look at that. You got a bunch of spotted monsters. You got silver eggs. You've got the lower graded moorlings, where in the English version over here, you've got at least the 4-star turtles, even a 5-star turtle. And the upper level moorlings are available. So it's not going to be a good source to get materials if you're bored, I guess. But one cool thing is this gacha reservation system on the top right, so you can sign up for notifications for certain hatchers. Going in order from top to bottom, we've got Legends. Second one is the Guardian series, and 2 monsters there you're probably not familiar with if you haven't been following the Japanese version. We got Nightingale on the left. You might recognize her if you've been watching the anime though. And Walpurgis, which I was lucky enough to get. Next 5 are the element specific hatchers, so the red stars, the blue, not sure of the translation. Got the green fantasy, starlight mirage, and the midnight party. Each of them of course have their own specific special monsters that only come from that hatcher, so if you're interested in that, make sure you sign up for that. Up next is the monster collection. So the popular monsters will be featured on certain days, and they'll rotate across different days. So if you're looking for a specific one, maybe look at that. This next one right here is will feature monsters that are great for the colossal quests. Next here is the Tower of Champions hatcher. So they will pop out monsters that will be helpful for that. And then next is the new stage that is above the Tower of Champions. If you clear all 40 stages, you unlock this new level where you basically have a bingo board of all the impossible and colossals and try to beat them all. But the catch is, once you use a monster, they are locked away for that bingo board session. So you have to think about your parties very carefully. Next up is the ladies catcher. Not pretty straightforward, only females will pop out of that. This next one gives you the evolved or ascended or transcended monsters right away. And the last one is basically saying, if there's a new character, I want to know about that hatcher. So you can set that reminder as well. Friends list, there is, I think, nothing different, with the exception that the friends list is much better in the Japanese version. As you can see, all 52 of your friends will be available. I guess this isn't the right screen to show, but when you go into a stage, in the American version you were stuck with a subset of monsters. However, in the Japanese version, all of them will be available. All of them, which is the way it should have been, but it's much better in the Japanese version. So make sure you fill out your friends list. I'm still very short on my max, but it is very it behooves you to max out your friends list. Let's see, the options are here in this last page. So the important ones here, we can go to this purple one. This is the anime secret code page. So if you've been following the anime, at the end of the Japanese version only, they actually give a keyword at the end, and you can put it in here. And once you do that, you can type in the secret password, and you'll get a reward if you do it within 2 weeks of the airing of that anime episode. It differs per episode, so you just gotta put it in and see what you get, or just look online. If you do pass 2 weeks, it's just a simple turtle, so make sure you at least put it in. It can't hurt. This red button is for Monster Stadium. It's another app where you can basically do a P2P time trial attack. Pretty fun. They do X-Flag Mixie does their own tournament occasionally, I think once every other year, twice every year, something like that. But pretty cool competition and pretty fun side app. It does link with your monster box in your standard Monster Strike game, so that's pretty cool there. Right under that is the options. There's a bunch of options you can play with. Like this third button will cut the evolution screen if you don't like that. Let's see, this monster auto lock for 5-star monster. The third from the bottom will turn on the vibration when it's your turn in multiplay. I know there are images out there that translate all of them, so look out for that. If anybody's curious, I can translate for you in the comments, so just ask away. And I guess the most important is this bottom one, the data backup. Make sure you do that properly, just like the American version. Whoops. It is in the X-Flag system, so set up an account there, set it up, and you're good to go. Alright, one last thing before we wrap up, and I think this is an important one that everyone should be aware of, is that the evolution for the Japanese versions are slightly different too. So if you look here, when you try and evolve a monster, you can see that they actually go back to level 1 now. In the American version, we actually keep that level as far as you went up. So let's say, I think, yeah, this 5-star monster, right? Or 4-star, sorry. I max leveled her, but when you evolve her, she'll stay at level 40. However, in the Japanese version, you go back to 1 and then have to start all over again. Does mean you're gonna have to take a little bit more turtles than usual, but hey, that's how they play in the big leagues. Alright, well, I think that's most of the big changes. Aside from that, there's probably not that many big ones. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but I think at least from the menu standpoint, I covered the bulk of it. So hopefully that helped. If there's anything more that you'd like to see, let me know. But hopefully you are surviving the transfer. I know at least I've started to focus more. As you can see, I've already gotten up to 52 orbs in the Japanese version, so I'm ready for the next Legends Hatcher. Hopefully I can fill back my box with some of those missing monsters, but good luck to you as well if you're making the transfer, and until next time, bye bye.